Castroneves, 2014 was the last time the 20-year veteran found the top step on the podium. But at Iowa Speedway 1 week ago, the Brazilian charged his way to the top. Back to the front, Hildebrand will move to second. Checkered flag, win number 30, and Castroneves squarely is in the championship hunt. Elio now sits second in the IndyCar championship, a position he is familiar with. Over the course of his career, he's finished second 4 times without winning a title. Today in Toronto, Elio will have to battle with 4-time champion Scott Dixon, while 2016 points winner Simon Pagenaud leads them to green.
So much, guys. We did it.
It's round 12 of 17 in the 2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. From Toronto, Ontario, Canada, it's the Honda Indy Toronto. Weather a storyline. It's dry right now with some sunshine, but it rained about 45 minutes ago, and there's a 50-50 chance we see moisture, which will add to the dynamics of this event before we're done today. Very challenging, very tricky layout. We'll break it down, all coming up. But first, we need to start engines. Let's go trackside.
Toronto race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in auto sports. Please welcome our Grand Marshal, 8-time Juno Award winner, Grammy nominee, Canadian Music Hall of Fame member, and singer of the song Life is a Highway, Tom Cochran, to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
North of the border, it's the Honda Indy Toronto, and here we go. Front row, Pagenaud, Rahal, who gets the early jump, and we're on. It's Pagenaud in the white and black car. There's Castroneves coming to the inside. He'll get around his teammate. Castroneves into turn 1 from 3rd to 1st for the lead.
Meantime, Scott Dixon forced his way up the inside. Dixon with a big run down the back straightaway.
I tell you what, that was a power move, but look at Pagenaud coming back. He's going to make him go around the long way. Rahal looking, but what a move.
Oh! Willpower in the
wall. Breaks his wing.
Dixon has a flat left rear.
So power is off. How much damage does the championship leader have in the blue car? That's Scott Dixon. He's wounded. He's going to have to limp his way around.
And Dixon needs to be careful to protect the rest of his car getting the pit lane. He's got the whole field trying to come through. Terrible luck here for Dixon.
Rear tire is gone. It is flat down to the bottom. But the damage for Power, he's still stuck. Full course caution, so Power could potentially lose a lap here. Brakes are smoking, broken front wing. But man, what a move by Castroneves. Does that guy want this championship or what? And this is big, big, big time for him with Scott Dixon right here already having trouble.
Ready to restart. Back on the main straightaway. Castroneves with a great jump. Pagenaud in behind him. There's Graham Rahal. That orange car is Joseph Newgarden. And then the local guy in the Aero car, the black and gold, that's James Hinchcliffe running in 5th.
I think we saw Takuma Sato maybe getting to the back of his teammate Alexander Rossi. Rossi had a bit of a bobble there as they come to the back straight. No push to pass allowed on the restart. It'll be eligible the next lap.
James Hinchcliffe coming down the outside of Joseph Newgarden. He's not far enough up along to make something happen as he slots back in.
This time it looks like everyone will get through cleanly. The 3, 4, 5, 6 complex headed towards turn 8 with a little twist in turn 7.
Fresh pavement all in this section over years past, but it is still bumpy on that concrete patch right there. Is still very bumpy on the brakes, but this section here is all fresh pavement. So if it gets wet, very, very slippery because it's new pavement. There's a lot of oil that's not worked out of that pavement yet. But this is the most bumpy section of the track because you see the cars bouncing up and down in the brake zone here.
A little bit of debris sitting there that might have come off maybe the 9 we think, or perhaps from that contact with Sato and Rossi.
Let's watch Scott Dixon. Right side, see what you see if anything comes off.
Brake duct came off again. So they did not get that brake duct secure at the back of the car where they were trying to put it on. He was going to go a lap down as they were coming to green. We're on board with Hinch, so that brake duct that they were trying to fix, that could cost him some braking trouble with how hard you have to brake here, Townsend.
And Scott Dixon all alone, about a half a lap behind. He's in turn one as Helio Castroneves comes through the final corner.
You overheat those rear brakes, you can run out of rear brake. You got a big problem here.
Yeah, these brakes are so sensitive to heat.
There's the local yellow. One of the movers so far, I mentioned this, Tony Kanaan. We'll see him in the blue and white NTT data car. He's moved up from 14th to 9th so far. Carlos Munoz, Sebastian Saavedra, and Esteban Gutierrez have also moved up 4 spots.
And for Tony Kanaan, he is much happier now. In fact, you heard a bit of that in the pre-race. They were very unhappy, both he and Scott Dixon, with the handling of that car. Remember, Dixon and both Kanaan have been fast here in the past mechanically, but now they have a Honda Aero kit. They said, believe it or not, even though these are slow corners, downforce is critical here. It took us a long time to find the balance on this car.
I mentioned the movers that are coming up, brought to you by Firestone. Some of it is because of the problems that Scott Dixon and Will Power have had. Certainly Kanaan has made up positions mid-pack, but Munoz, Saavedra, Gutierrez moving up, and then Joseph Newgarden is running 4th after starting in the 7th position. We know Team Penske has a good setup. They were 1, 2, 3, 4 in practice, so don't count out Joseph Newgarden yet. So Spencer Pigot around Marco Andretti gets up to 9th position. That's the second pack. Here's Rossi taking a look to the outside of James Hinchcliffe once again, and right behind him, Takuma Sato tried to take a peek, couldn't get around Rossi.
I wonder if some of Rossi's urgency is the fact that his teammate got into the back of him on the start. He might want to get away from Sato and keep pushing, but both those Andretti cars are pretty quick, and then further back it seems like Marco Andretti has settled in and found the pace, along with the hard-charging Spencer Pigot.
Spencer Pigot now all over the back of Kanaan. He's gapped Andretti. Ed Jones moves up to the back of Andretti. So these guys are all frantic to get by each other here.
I enjoy looking at the seconds of push to pass remaining at the point of the race like this, because it's always the young guys. Spencer Pigot, Connor Daly, Alexander Rossi. It's like my kids at a movie theater with a box of Skittles. They rifle through them in the first 5 minutes.
You guys are talking about Spencer Pigot in that corner last time, how aggressive. Remember, he is the only driver who chose to start on the blacks. Now you talk about that big bunch, Paul, all being Hondas. He is the only one on the blacks. As those reds wear, he should be faster, and he's showing it now, that kind of pace.
Ed Jones gets by Marco Andretti there on the back straightaway, a nice move.
And I'll tell you what, as we saw that straightaway shot, the marbles from these reds coming onto the front straightaway there's a ton, so you do not want to get offline or miss your line coming out onto the lakeshore, because you get in those marbles, Townsend, and it'll just skate you right over in the wall.
And at race speed, it's oftentimes very difficult for the driver to pick up the marbles until it's too late, as Pigot's making another move. Just as you said, Jan, those blacks have come alive at this point in the stint. He is flying.
Spencer Pigot is on the charge, up to 8th place right now, and he's still moving forward. Now he's thinking about Takuma Sato, the Indianapolis 500 winner in the 26 car, right in front of him.
We watch as they come to turn 1, if we can get a shot here.
Good job.
As they come out, I'll show everybody where these marbles are, where if you get offline, it'll carry you right out into the wall. As we come, look at that. Look at all those marbles coming out on the front straightaway.
And here's Pigot working on the hometown hero for 5th.
Watch this. This is his good corner right here. Watch the drive. He gets off this corner. I bet he's going to make, he's on him. Look at that. Push to pass is on. Watch.
Oh
down
boy.
the inside.
Wow, look at the brakes on fire. The carbon glowing. Nice move as Hinch comes to pit lane and Pigot's gone.
From 13th to 5th, just like that in the first segment for Spencer Pigot.
3 laps in a row he made that move on 3 separate guys.
Hinchcliffe is in for his stop. Kanaan in front of him. We saw Max Chilton, one of those that pitted not too far back in front of Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Jan Beeka's called that all these guys want to get off the softer red tires as fast as possible. Certainly after they watch Spencer Pigot and his pace, everybody will want to go to the harder black tires.
Now the leaders are hoping that it stays green and a lockup for Kanaan, and he's going to go
he's
up.
on
And are we
tires.
going to get a yellow? And are the leaders going to be in trouble because they stayed out? That's Castroneves, Pagenaud, Rahal, and Newgarden. We have a full course caution.
That was on his outlap coming out of the pits. He wanted a big exit. Look at that. He got the yellow. We don't know if he got the yellow in time.
So Newgarden gets in. He dodges the bullet.
And this could be catastrophic for Castroneves, Pagenaud, and Rahal that stayed out on track. They are going to go to the back of the field. And Piggott.
Back to green in Toronto as they go through turn number 1. Helio Castroneves was leading. It's all shuffled back. He's all the way back in 14th. It's Joseph Newgarden out front, followed by Ed Jones, who is yet to pit. Charlie Kimball pitted very early. Will have to also come in soon. Kimball looking on Jones for second there. Further back, it's Rossi and Hinchcliffe in 4th and 5th.
We've had massive point swing right now. Scott Dixon is ahead of Castroneves, and he is back in the points lead. They did not lose a lap with those repairs, as we see Scott here running in 12th, and Castroneves 3 positions behind him. So it's huge for him. He's got to try to stay ahead of Castroneves.
Exactly what Dixon needed after the penalty and the damage. He stays on the lead lap, and now with, again, chance of moisture coming, really could help out Dixon. As we wide on board with Castroneves, he's behind Saavedra, who was having a little bit of issue under yellow. Looks like Saavedra's running all right now. All these guys on the black tires except for Jones and Munoz.
Newgarden starting to check out on Ed Jones. These guys are all on old used tires, and Newgarden is on fresh black. So right now, Newgarden doesn't need to go crazy because all his competitors are 10, 12 positions behind him that he's got to worry about. What he's got to do is conserve the tires, make fuel mileage. Look at these guys racing back here.
Jones getting around Kimball in the blue and white colors this weekend. That's Charlie Kimball in the 83, falling back to 3rd position.
And they're on the same strategy, Jones and Kimball. They'll have to pit soon. Alexander Rossi, the blue and red car behind Kimball, is going to be trying to catch Newgarden there.
Well, we saw some raindrops on the camera down there at the end of the lakeshore. So if it starts to rain harder, all of these guys are going to be pitting for tires if it rains, as Kimball gets by Ed.
Well, fastest lap of the race, Scott Dixon, but on that last lap, you're right, that was a quick one from Rossi. Here comes Charlie Kimball.
So he got 6 laps of yellow to stretch it a little bit, but he had to come in, Katie.
This is Charlie Kimball's 2nd stop of the day. He first pitted on lap 4. This time they're going to go to those Firestone Blacks and wait for some adjustments from the team. A turn of front wing. Kevin?
So he will shuffle back significantly, and he will need a caution to fall in his favor again to be able to cycle up front. So Alexander Rossi now moves up to 2nd. He's under 2 seconds from Joseph Newgarden. Let's see if he can chase him down.
He really should be able to, because that lap, Paul, he took a half a second out of Newgarden, and he had dirty air with Kimball in front of him.
Yeah, he was really battling hard with that whole group of guys that were back there. He finally got around, and he just took off from everybody. He gapped them and has closed the gap now down to Newgarden. So when he gets there, as we see Kanaan, both of these guys on the push to pass against Gutierrez, comes down the outside again, challenges back, but you're not going to get it done from out there, and it was wise of him to back off because that guy, after the wreck yesterday, just needs to finish for Dale Coyne.
For Spencer Piggott, as you see right now, we'll see if Rossi, who should be much faster, can get by him. First of all, he had contact with Sato. When we saw Sato and Piggott stop at the same time, they hit each other. Then he decided to go with the red sidewall, the alternates, mid-race. It just did not work for Spencer Piggott. So as you said and saw nonstop, he just came to the pit road, it put him back, and now he's on the blacks, but has a long way to go.
And then about 5 seconds behind them is James Hinchcliffe, who finished on the podium last year. Here he comes in the Aero car, right now in position for the podium again this year.
James all alone. He's gapped the guys that he's with, but Rossi has had to back down his pace. He chased down Newgarden, and they told him, hey, we got to save some fuel if we're going to do this on one more stop. And now he's 4 seconds behind Newgarden, so he's had to back it way down.
Well, if anybody knows how to save fuel, Rossi would be the guy. Your Indy 500, the Indy 500 winner last year, 2016, did it all on fuel savings, clutch and coast, as his teammates Andretti and Hunter Ray are looking pretty solid back there. They're about 10 seconds back of Rossi, but the pace is pretty decent.
Right now for Andretti, this would be a great shot in the arm if he was able to stay here in the top 4, top 5. That would be a good result for him. It's been a struggle this year. He's had flashes of speed as we follow him in our overhead camera here, our blimp cam. He's had speed at certain times, but just hasn't put the qualifying together, and he had a good qualifying here in Toronto, and his pace in the race has been really good.
So 32 laps to go. I think Saavedra could make it to the end with the yellow, which is what you're gambling on. We understand the leaders in. Here's Newgarden.
And Joseph Newgarden is expecting no changes on that car. Just 4 new black tires, some Sunoco fuel, everything looking great here for Joseph Newgarden. Katie?
And Alexander Rossi also making his second stop of the day. They chose to look after the tires rather than chase down Joseph Newgarden. He's going to go for blacks for this last stint.
And Newgarden had to avoid James Hinchcliffe. Did you see that there? He had to get on it a little bit on board Hinchcliffe as he's making his stop. So the top 3 have all come in. Now it depends whether we get a yellow or not. But advantage to these drivers, they are safe from the yellow for the next little while.
If it stays dry.
Correct. And if nobody makes a mistake like Tony Kanaan on cold tires getting up to speed. So we got to watch that. You can easily get in these bumps on stickers and lock it up or get together, just like those two right there as Hinchcliffe Hildebrand kind of pinches off the front.
Watch this.
Call here.
On board with Hinchcliffe. Here comes Newgarden. That was close. Newgarden trying to blend to the high line as Hinchcliffe's coming in. There's just not enough room on pit lane. You have to give and take. Newgarden was smart there to hold up.
We saw our first stops under yellow earlier on and no issues. We were a little worried about that after they changed the pit lane last year. As Castroneves comes in, and all of the pit stops last year were under green. These stops are also under green.
And the interesting thing is that this one lap, this must be mission 10. Go one more lap. He should be okay saving some fuel. I agree with Townsend. People like Saavedra, those who stopped just one lap ago, they can make it to the end under extreme fuel save. For Castroneves, see, they're going to wait for every last lap. That 7.8 second stop for Castroneves.
Let's see where he comes out. In and out laps, so critical. There's Castroneves in the back. Hunter Ray is in front of him. Chilton is in the blue and light blue car. And then one of the Foyt cars, that is Munoz, that'll tuck in right behind Castroneves.
Well, he was battling Saavedra for much of that stint, so he's beat Saavedra, but his teammates, Rahal and Pagenaud, now as the leader, have not pitted yet. So let's see where they come out if they pit on the next lap.
Newgarden is in second after his stop, and only 5 seconds behind Pagenaud, who'll still need to pit again. Here's Graham Rahal, an early contender that got shuffled back because of the caution, making his second stop, Katie.
They did not want to be caught out this time, Kevin, so Graham Rahal making his second stop of the day. He has been in fuel save mode for these last few laps, but he's going to be let loose on this last stint and fill it up with Sunoco fuel.
Well, that one extra lap, Pagenaud's going 2 extra laps, so let's see where he comes out. He did not beat Castroneves out. He's way behind Castroneves.
Yeah, Rahal falls way back.
How frustrating. How fast has he been this weekend? Qualified second, was running in the top 3 early in the race, but the top 3 had not pitted when the first caution in the pit window came out.
Well, the last guy is Pagenaud, who's still on track, and he's going to pit here. Here he comes right now. So let's see where he comes out. He went 2 laps further than the guys that he was running against. Luckily, he didn't catch a yellow.
And they wanted to stay out those 2 extra laps to get Simon back out in front in the rest of the field. He's going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel. No changes for this last stint, but a little bit of long stuff to fill it all the way up, and he'll cycle back out. Kevin?
Joseph Newgarden is long gone. Alexander Rossi goes by. James Hinchcliffe goes by. Scott Dixon right there in the blue car going by, and Marco Andretti as well.
Well, that was an advantage for Pagenaud. He must have had much better in-lap than Rahal, because he beat Rahal out by a ton.
He's going to have a hard time holding off Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's on hot tires and on the button. Ryan Hunter-Reay charging down the back straightaway, has to be careful of those marbles. Pagenaud will defend fiercely here.
This is for 6. Hunter-Reay to the inside. got it done pretty simple. And right now it's Joseph Newgarden in command, almost 4 seconds in front of Alexander Rossi. James Hinchcliffe in position for his second straight podium in his hometown, and then quite a ways back to Marco Andretti. There you see him. That's the battle for fourth, and then Hunter-Reay fifth. Pagano right on him for sixth. And remember, 2 years ago, Joseph Newgarden, then driving for Ed Carpenter Racing, took the wins here in a race that had some wets. We might see some wet before we're done here today. The radar looks like it could rain at any moment. It's ominous. But we are running out of laps, just over 10 remaining.
3.9 with 10 to go, 3.9 with 10 to go.
What do you think, Paul? We're going to see rain?
Well, I'm waiting for it at any second. Whoa, we've got a pass right there that just happened, but he's got a nice lead here, but he's coming up on lap traffic and a group of guys now that are fighting each other right here. So none of these guys are really going to want to concede to go a lap down. So this could become an issue with 10 to go.
Munoz and Jones and Daly
And Sato. Luckily for Newgarden,
these two have been fighting each other. I think Pagano just gave him a hip check.
Hunter-Reay gives it right back.
So I hope we get a replay of that. I think Pagano was quite annoyed by how hard it was to get by. He gave him a little side check, and Hunter-Reay gave it back, but I think Pagano might be damaged now.
In a country that loves hockey, they're certainly embracing the lifestyle and the sporting spirit.
Race control has to determine if anyone goes to the penalty box.
Pagano on the push to pass. The door is open. He moved over into him, it looked like, for really no reason.
Gave him a little fade.
He got it back.
Well, Hunter-Reay had been doing the impossible, as we see it from another angle. Hunter-Reay trying to hold on with less fuel available to burn and less push to pass. He did a good job of holding off Newgarden, Pagano, as...
That's Ed Jones.
And Jones was in that battle with Daly and Sato.
Looks like it might be terminal. He took the steering wheel off. They're saying there was some smoke, maybe an engine failure. We've got something coming out of the side pod there, some smoke, but we see him coming down the straight off song. So definitely something has gone wrong with his motor, but that would have been a good run for him. But that is going to move Dixon up another position, I think. They were closing in on Andretti. Now Andretti has gotten away again from these two guys.
And Pagano burned up so much of his push-to-pass advantage just trying to close the gap and make a move on Hunter-Reay. Now Pagano 36 seconds, Hunter-Reay 12 seconds. So good job on Hunter-Reay's part to force Pagano to burn up this valuable seconds. Whoa, Hunter-Reay gets wide.
Hunter-Reay missed the entry and what ran wide, got out in the dirty part of the track. He's lucky he didn't crash and basically gave away the position to Pagano, and I think you'll see Pagano just take off now.
Any chance we're seeing sprinkles on that side of the track? Hunter-Reay really struggling.
There's something going on here with Hunter-Reay. He's sawing at the wheel, so I don't know if he got pickup on his tires, but right now he's hanging on for dear life.
That's Max Chilton right behind him.
Something's going on. Look, he got really slow exit. Chilton will be on push to pass now.
It's been a quiet, good run for Max Chilton today. Running in 7th, working on getting to 6th.
Is it possible that Hunter-Reay has a slow puncture from the earlier contact with Pagano?
Look at how slow he is through the apex there. So something definitely has happened with his car. Because look at Pagano, 3 corners, he's gone.
And look who's right back there. Maybe opportunities for positions for Helio Castroneves running in 8th. Right behind Chilton, right behind Ryan Hunter-Reay. Castroneves led the early moments of this race very impressively. He took the lead from 3rd to 1st in the first corner, but got a bad break when he had not pitted when the first yellow came out, and that allowed those that had pitted to cycle past him.
And look who's all over the back of Castroneves now, Sebastian Saavedra. So Saavedra really in a shot here to finish top 5 or 6. We ride on board with Saavedra.
And his best career finish ever, I think, is 8th.
And so he's on the push to pass, but
maybe get that.
He just burned them all. Saavedra out of push to pass, out of Skittles, kids.
And you talk about push to pass as there's a move down in turn number 3, wheel to wheel. and Rahal gets the better of that. Now the situation, as you see now, a battle for Dixon picking up a position, and you mentioned that Saavedra ran out of push to pass. They told him actually not to use it. Remember, Sebastian Saavedra pitted early because he has to save some fuel. They said stay off of it until the end. He couldn't help himself. Unfortunately, he couldn't maintain the position. They told Castroneves now, by the way, you can use push to pass all the way home.
And that one position for Dixon just gave him a 3-point advantage over Castroneves, so every point is going to count at the end of the season.
So that's Hunter Ray running in 6, Chilton behind him in 7, Castroneves taking a look, running in 8th position. Rahal is in 9th, Dixon now up to 10th.
Hunter Ray looks like he's recovered now. He's checked away from Max Chilton, but Chilton is now in the clutches of Castroneves. If he gets that position, it's going to close that gap to Dixon back down to 1 point in the championship.
And I can only think, Paul, that just when Hunter Ray went wide in that one corner, that the amount of pickup on his tires, it took him a full lap to get it cleaned up and fall back into the groove and get back on pace. Luckily for Joseph Newgarden, Connor Daly's pretty quick. I mean, he's turning high 101s, low 102s. And so it's really not hurting Newgarden very much. Look at how dirty the track is.
Stay there where we are. We're okay on fuel though.
We just heard from Cindric. He said, stay where we are. The pace of these guys in front is good enough to maintain that gap for 2 more laps. So don't get in any urgency, get mixed up with these 2 guys.
Yeah, they could come together. You don't want to be right behind them if they come together and take you out, because Newgarden's gap right now
racing each other,
is
maybe
safe.
a little too hard.
Well, especially with Takuma
Caught up
Sato.
in their mess.
There you go.
There's Cindric telling him, just like you, Kevin, be careful. Sato's got 30 laps almost on those reds.
But will this allow Alexander Rossi to close in a little bit?
White flag here, white flag.
1 more to go for Joseph Newgarden. The gap at the line is still very comfortable.
And this is where you have to be careful. Lap to go, 2 hard chargers with Sato and Daly. Daly gonna go for it if he's got a chance, and Newgarden just has to protect.
Rossi on the push to pass, so he's trying to close this gap down in the last couple corners. Can he get there? Can he close this gap? He's definitely closed down a little bit.
Newgarden wants them to be on it. He doesn't want to have to deal with him. Go quickly. Help me keep Alexander Rossi at bay, about 2 seconds behind. Sato, Daly, trying to stay on their giddy up. Stay in their race and stay out of the leader's way.
2 more corners to go.
He's got it.
Joseph Newgarden uses strategy to his advantage. The yellow works in his favor, and the championship is even tighter. Joseph Newgarden has won again on the streets of Toronto.
Yeah, boys. How about that? Great car, great stop.
Joseph, dude, they got me to victory lane. Yeah, with you, brother. Joseph, you had a little bit of luck there with strategy, but after that, man, you just ruled the race.
Yeah, I mean, you can't discount it, right? I think that's twice I've had good calls in T.O. getting, into the pits at the right time. So thank you to the guys. Thank you, Tim, for making that call. We got it right. But, it's about managing the race after that. I thought we had a very fast car. We got a pretty good start, stayed out of the mayhem. But very, very happy for all of Team Penske. This is the Vilbus car. It's pretty bright, but it's very fast, too. So I'm pumped for all the 2-car guys that did. Amazing job. Great job for Team Penske today.
And Joseph, you came into the weekend 56 points back in the championship lead, now just 23 points back. Do you think you can go for the championship now?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be difficult beating all of our guys, but I'll tell you what, when you got Chevy power, you got Chevy reliability and fuel mileage, you feel pretty good about things. So I feel good about it. It's going to be a dogfight till the end. I think we've just got to be conservative, but aggressive at the same time. You can't sit back too much. You just got to make sure to stay out of incidences and hopefully get a couple more podiums before the end of the year, and I think we can get it done.
What are we going to see at Mid-Ohio from Joseph Newgarden?
Well, hopefully something. I'd like to win somewhere I haven't won. I won at Barber, and then we won again there, and then I've already won here, so we won again in here with Team Penske. So I'd like to get these guys another win where I haven't won before. That'd be really great for me and for the entire group. So hopefully at Mid-Ohio we can get that magic.
Massive win here for Joseph Newgarden.
IndyCar continues on CNBC for Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in 2 weeks, Sunday, July 30th, 3 o'clock Eastern. For more info on the Verizon IndyCar Series, log on to NBCSports.com. Congratulations, Joseph Newgarden wins on the streets of Toronto. Thanks so much for joining us.